I've been witnessing a lot of amazing creative energy in the room. I can't wait to see the results of some of that. So we're going to give ourselves about 45 minutes to share as many prototypes as possible. Now, what that means is that the more time you take means the less time that another person has. So we're going to ask you to be fairly disciplined. And I have these 3 questions on the slide for you to help you sort of shape your presentation very quickly. What is the thing that you're showing us? Give us the essence of the concept. Share a little bit about what you learned through the making of it. How did it get changed in the process? And what do you see as a possible next step with this prototype to help bring it that closer into action? Okay. So what we're going to do is the following. We have 3 different places that people can go to get on camera to show their ideas. One is right up here on the stage in front of the mic. A second place is over there. There's an easel with a mic, and there's a third easel over here with a mic. Okay? And what I'm going to suggest that you do is, if you have an idea that you'd like to share with the group, why don't you start to jockey into position? I noticed one group already has their materials down here, so we'll let them go first. Another group already has some materials up there, so we'll let them go second, and then we'll go to the third station. Okay? So be as brief as possible. We're going to do the old pull you off the stage if you go for too long, because we have a lot of people who would like to have expressed an interest in sharing their ideas. All right? And if I could ask the rest of you to pay attention to the stage or the screens. We're going to now switch back to screen mode so you can see these prototypes up close. All right, here we go. Which group is first here? This group is first, right? Just because they queued up. Can you bring that up on stage? Could you just come up stage, because the lighting is best here. Yeah.
Should I start?
Are you part of that group?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Sorry, I thought.
All right, thank you. This real brief presentation here, it's actually an event. It's a historical event, and it was inspired by the presentation by architect Bill McDonough and the awesome presentation last night from Janine Benes. And inspired by the historical events of 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the church at Wittenberg, starting the Reformation. And this is a reformation of sorts, a sustainability reformation, a conscious raisingness. And also by the Declaration of Independence, signed by, on, of course, July 4th. And this is, as Bill McDonough suggested, the Declaration of Interdependence. Which in part reads, as you can see, that the world and all living things in it, in fact, are interdependent. And we have gone seriously amok. And we declare the need to return to this universal value of recognition of interdependence and declare that the world and all living things in it are, in fact, interdependent. And this will be signed on July 4th, 2010 by all the underrepresented and indigenous peoples of the world. Thanks.
And it will be simultaneously nailed up on all the religious institutions, the corporations, the factories, it'll show up on your internet, and the entire world will be informed of this declaration simultaneously.
Thank you. Okay, great. So just a question, what's a next step for you? Is there a way that you could actually start to translate this into reality?
One thing that we thought of was that there already is this Council of Elders, and that might be a group to start to take it to in terms of gathering the best thinkers to actually give language to the ideas that are really percolating up all over the world. So that's one thing.
Okay, great.
Is that enough?
Yep, thank you. All right. Next, we're going to turn to this easel over here.
Hi, I'm Mary Kipp, and I'd ask the people at table 57 to please stand up, just so people know who and we are. You know, one of the things that's happened in the course of this conference and meeting is that it's just been extraordinary for me. I've loved it. But one of the things that has happened for me and for all of us as we talked is that we really felt like something was missing. And if you think about Gandhi and his saying, "Be the change you want to see," how have we done that here? And what might enable that to happen? So that was our challenge at our table. And we thought about how to reward and recognize, how to educate, how to help firms, and how to really develop theories. How might we do that all at once in a situation just like this one? Did we miss something? So what we decided to do was to, as part of the forum, to bring in 3 different types of organizations. And there would be one organization that would have achieved, really be a model of what it is that we hope for as we move forward. So they would be a go. They would be recognized and rewarded because they had achieved in a most profound way the very things that we're talking about. One of the things that's happened, I assume for everybody here and certainly for me and those at my table, we have received a lot. We have taken food, we have taken space, we have taken ideas, but not really given in the way that we're talking about. We have not embodied what it is that we are talking about. So the question is there a way to do that? And indeed, it appears there is. So whoever would get this reward and recognition for being the type of firm that we are hoping will perpetuate and sustain, their obligation would be to coach others, that they would agree to take on another organization. The second category would be yellow, those that they're kind of in process. They have started on this track that we believe in, but they're stalled out or they need some kind of boost. And so they would be coached by this firm, but also we would agree as a group to participate with people who come from other organizations and to work with them on the side, kind of, building and flying the plane at the same time so that we would work on these ideas with them. And then those who simply had a desire, really an expressed desire for what it is that we're talking about at this forum, they would be able to come as well. And they would begin to get ideas on how to proceed from those that had already gone before. So we would be able to have reward, recognition, education, and all of that. What we would do, if each of you went out and found one organization that would fit this category, we would develop criteria. But if each of you went out and found one organization that fit into any of these, you could submit an abstract that would then be put up for consideration. The abstracts could be done in a pyramid fashion so that I might agree to look at 5, you might agree to look at the same 5, and you might agree to look at the same 5, and then we would move it on to another group that would look. So we would be educating ourselves and implementing the very things that we're talking about until we would reach the top of the pyramid and what we're actually looking for. The global forums like this, where we're going to get lots of ideas, those ideas that had reached fruition or were in process would be exhibited in a way that's similar to what's being exhibited out there. Is there any reality to what we're doing, and how does it show up? So all these ideas, where do they come from, and where do they go? And then we would create a cross-generational, cross-functional selection committee. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Leather's Playgrounds. Anybody here know of that? The kids are part of the committee. Those who are going to use it, they're part of the committee. So one of the things in our educational system, the way it works now, is that you're either in grade school, middle school, high school, college, or whatever. It's very segregated. So we would draw from all those areas to create broader understanding. And that's it. Done.
Is there a very practical next step to making this happen?
We've already started working on this. We're taking all our Post-it notes and putting them together, and then we will submit it back. We'll get with somebody in the forum and submit it.
Great.
And the main thing we learned is how to embody what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
And that's great. And we'll talk a little bit about the website where we can post summaries of these kinds of things. I mean, there's so many great and practical things there. Yep.
Great. So now we're going over to this corner of the room.
Hello? Oh, it's already on. Okay. Okay, so this is our idea. It's called, this is our little logo. It's called onebrain.com. It's a little brain made out of little tribes of brains to form a big brain, but it also looks like an egg, and it also hatches into ideas. The idea here is sort of the Facebook for innovation. It's an open idea, so onebrain.com, are you one? You kind of enter in, and you'll have like a profile page and an idea board, and the idea is essentially to create a new definition of a firm gateway. So I can sort of start an idea, start a group. We have kind of a prototype and a project model. So if you have an idea for like, you know, the water car or whatever, that you came up with a couple of people you met in school, and you have this little network of engineers, and you want to incubate the idea of the water car, you kind of start your project, you get your network together, you work it through, you figure it out. There's a whole bunch of similar ideas like that, and you kind of, as a self-organizing system, kind of filters itself out, comes up with the ideas that it thinks that the community likes the best, and it lets people have access to give as much as they can, as little or a lot, to each idea. You can join teams. You can help develop teams. We had an idea around solve these problems. So here's your little network profile page. It's got your name, your location, your affiliations. You're very open about like where you work and the types of organizations you're in. It's very sort of Creative Commons based, and as sort of a background, like an idea where transparency and things help a larger world. It has your talents, your passions, your current projects. We thought you could do like a Match.com idea quiz when you first go on the site. So you sort of answer some questions, and projects come up that match your passion, that match your area. So you have like all these little entry points. We thought you could also have a Craigslist aspect where it's kind of like a classifieds, looking for help on this, looking for help on this, problem to solve here. We kind of did a splash page of like, this is like my desktop of all my ideas. So here's Hot Topic feed. This is the network map. It shows everyone in my network, and then it has like what they're working on, and if I clicked education, it would show all the things that they're working on in education. Solve these problems, where you would sort of submit problems, project updates, and then here's your little tabs of all your problems you're working on. Here's your global forum group, your Think on This, which is just things you've kind of tagged as you browse the site that you might be interested in. We have the Coventry Food Market project page up, where it's sort of like your local thing you do. It's not like a profit center. But we did talk a lot about how this could be a business as an agent for world benefit. And I'll let Christopher talk about that part of it. But this is where we're starting.
Yeah, I'll do it in under 30 seconds if I can. There's two components. One was the project idea, where you've just got an idea, you can't monetize it, you don't know what to do with it quite next, and you need the community to really speak to that. So you can actually post an idea that's going to be associated with your profile, and then automatically, as soon as you post an idea itself, it's attached to a wiki framework that will lead certain questions, like we've talked about biomimicry and things like that, so people are forced to address this as part of their concept. And then it's tied into a dig ranking, not only for your idea, but also your personality. And then at the finish of this, it kind of moves into a more commercializable stage, for lack of a better term. I'm sorry, I'm not getting these up here straight. And the product, once it's moved into a product stage, you can then move it where you can open it up so people can commercialize it if they want to and invest or buy it out based on who the original team was that conceived it, or you can immediately donate the idea to the site itself. And if you do that, the site will then invest in the idea so that once it's moved past this incubation prototyping stage, it's then released into Creative Commons so that the whole world can use it if it's got a certain level of popularity. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, let's move to the, yep.
Other way around, yeah. Does this mic work? Good morning. I'm Marcia. Beth and Mark and I, could Beth and Mark stand up? We collaborated on this. You'll see lots of different connections here, hopefully, from the last couple of days. So in no particular order, we were working on sustainability. How do we lift sustainability, spread it out into the world a lot faster and with a lot more urgency than we have been so far? So we're working on the principle of urgency. Is it Rahm Emanuel who says, don't waste a good crisis? So we were working on that. And also the notion of a viral or a contagious process and how that would work. So what do most of you see when you see this symbol? I can't hear you. A hot air balloon, right. Yeah, and it is, in that the idea is that this will lift sustainability up in the world, but it also, for me, represents, and for us, it represents Indras Net. Have you heard of Indras Net? Now, David explains this a lot better than I do, but in the interest of brevity, I'm not going to ask you to do that. Basically, Indras Net works like a spider web, and if you move one of its elements, it has repercussive, interdependent action happening elsewhere. And each of these points represents a city in the world. They are jewels that capture the imagination, the passion, the energy for sustainability around the world. So the idea is that we're going to piggyback onto Bruce Mau's idea of In God We Trust, and we're going to launch this initiative in Denver at 2010. What we'd like to do is identify 3 high-profile people, one from government, one from business, one from the social realm, to launch this for us and to probably help fund it for us. We're then going to have inquiry teams going out into the world to different cities, working in schools, working in businesses, working in malls, and inquiring with people about how do you make sustainability work here, in your area, in your place, in your business. What does it mean to you? What are some of the first steps you can take? So that's our idea, and we're calling it our Swift Sustainability System, or S-cubed. And we invite anybody who wants to join in and become part of one of these inquiry teams going out into the world to sign up with us.
Thank you very much. And presumably we'll have that available on the website, a mechanism to do that. Okay, we're going to go to this table over here. If you could orient to the cameras, it would, I think, make for a better presentation.
My name is Allison Ball, and this is Bo Dane, and we'll try and be quick. And we worked with Alex at table 26, and we also thought of that viral spread of sustainability. We also came up with something that was very theoretical in concept, working with the co-evolutionary relationship described by Janine Benyus between the consumers and the businesses and the organizations. And then when we brought it down to a product, we decided on a box. a toolkit. And we were thinking of calling it the Business Sustainability Box, but then we thought it might be called the BS Box. So, so then we came up with the Making Money Box. But then you don't have the values. So then we thought about the Making Values or Making Sustainable Values Box. So you guys are our first focus group, and please think about the name that you think we should use. It is a global program, and Bo will explain what goes into the box, but if you achieve the goals that you set, you'll get a seal, a worldwide seal, and it'll be shaped like a globe, or not shaped, or a sticker of a globe, but where you are in the globe will be highlighted with a star or a heart or whatever. And so that is what you'll receive, and in the first thing when you open the box is a list of local resources and networks and contacts and guidelines. We hope that people in the businesses will get several people from several departments with the skill and the will. It doesn't have to be the chief. It's got to be the people that want to work on this. So
again, we want to make this really practical, right? It's a toolkit. So we identified 7 areas. I'll go through very quickly. Waste and recycling. Okay, so how do you do waste and recycling in your business? Green building, and not just LEED, but a local version of LEED. So ecological performance standards related to Janine Binyas. Energy efficiency in the management of your operations. How do you do an energy audit? How do you run your building efficiently? Local food. Maybe we'd include Michael Pollan's latest book, In Defense of Food, in that kit. Maybe you can get a CSA at your business, like Forest City Enterprises has done. Giving back ecologically, and then giving back socially, too. Again, toolkit. How do you do each one of these things? Water use. How do you use water in your business? Really practical. And then transportation. How do you get around? How do you get your goods and services around?
And for all those toolkits or those booklets, it'll have an easy form so you can do your audit and set your baseline. So you can set your goals locally. And the goal setting is weird because we have to figure that out still. This is just a rapid prototype. But our phase 2 is to have similar boxes geared for the K through 12. Probably the tweeners, the ones we're marketing to, I guess, so that they'll know what that seal is. And then we can create that relationship between the businesses and the consumers. So that's it.
And among the different tools that you described, I've had conversations with a number of people in the audience who already have these things. So maybe using the website as a way to solicit, and building on the idea that was presented here, asking, does anyone know of a tool that can help us do this to speed up the development process? Great. Okay, we're now going over to this table. And David, did you have something to say? Or okay, over to this table, and you're on. Or maybe not.
Can you hear me? Okay. So our big idea is the International Sustainability Fund. And it's a global organization sort of modeled after the International Monetary Fund. So the first prototype here is a homepage for the organization to show you sort of the big picture overview of what's included. So the International Sustainability Fund is dedicated to promoting a thriving world for all species. We have 4 main navigation areas on the top of the site. One is engagement, and that includes a sustainability core, like the Peace Corps, executives on loan, and a consulting practice. The next piece is funding, and that includes loans, grants, and a place where organizations or people can make donations. The next piece is learning, and that includes a knowledge bank, educational tools for schools and universities, and open source applications and tools for organizations. Oh, you want me? Okay. The last piece is recognition, and that includes the ISF Seal of Excellence, the Hall of Hope, which is sort of a bank of stories, success stories, and a Second Life something happening in Second Life we don't really know yet. So, so if you'll notice on the webpage, we have a news flash that the Sustainability Corps is now thriving in 25 countries, and my colleagues are going to tell you about that.
Our Sustainability Corps is illustrated by, first of all, our logo, which is a tree growing out of a hand, and the hand is all of you. The students are in the center of this training center, school, or community center of sustainability, and they are facing out toward windows. So they're visionaries. They're learning how to envision what their goals are on a virtual level, a global level, local, and experiential. So we've got a lot of metaphors here. The seeds, something like that irritating cottonseed many of you may be experiencing right about now. It takes off into the air and it plants itself wherever it decides to land. So we're hoping that these students, once they gain this knowledge and insight and have a vision, that they carry this out into the world and plant themselves and grow into an emerging tree. So we have plants as a metaphor on the outside border, and then we have trees with an emerging leaf on each balloon. These here represent portholes, of their emerging from this center of information that they've shared together on all these different levels and brought it all together. Actually, Trent University in Canada and Walsh University here in the States are hoping to take this forward between the two schools. So that's going to be great. Is there anything else I need to say? Yep. Oh, you go ahead.
Some contacts at the United Nations.
Our project also invests heavily in children as our future, the seeds of sustainability. And the metaphor we use is the transformation from the chrysalis to the caterpillar to the butterfly. And this is a metaphor for learning, for children, for the planet. And we've developed a curriculum that focuses on soil, water, sun, and plant life. And to get the children excited globally, we've created the global Gumby. And Gumby is neither male nor female, but a global image of the power of education and children for sustainability. And their work, their inspiration is on our website and in our portals. Thank you.
So just a quick question for the team. Can you tell us something that you learned in the process of prototyping?
We learned we're a great team.
How about something about the content?
Well, we found that having a big picture, we naturally fell to our passions and worked very vigorously as team members, connecting and building the content, building the structure was really important to the process.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. All right. Next.
I'm Gauri from Cleveland in India. I'm Hema, made in India, now in Chicago and learning to be a global citizen.
I'm Tony from the Shenandoah Valley.
And I'm Tina from Denmark.
I'm Araz from the Netherlands.
And our group had a big dream. Our dream is something about a floating learning community. It's something like if today a big balloon came here and take us up, and you could float and visit other countries, other cities, and give them our passion, our interdependence, our beauty, our love. And our dream is have many balloons in different parts of the world, interconnected, and make this a big event, a global event, in one day that simultaneously different balloons in a special place, like Times Square or Paulista in Brazil, and have a big party. But it's not just an event. We have high proposals then. Can you tell them?
Yes, we thought that for short term, we could look at for 2011, the next global forum for 2011 happens on a balloon, at least a part of it. So for some of the bigger events for the project, everybody gets into this space, and then the balloons take them higher. The balloons will be wind propelled. They will have, these are solar panels. They have good vibe collectors, which are somewhere here, hanging from the balloons. And then there are community gardens. There's a place where you can grow food. So you live like a community on the balloon while you're floating over all these places. So you're talking about a rural area, and you're floating over a rural area. You're talking about cities, and you're sort of going in between a couple of buildings in the cities. That becomes a more short term. And then for long term, we thought maybe the entire global forum could happen on the thing. So you float around for a month. You go from one end of America to another, or you go from somewhere Midwestern to the West Coast or the East Coast. And then for a more futuristic view to have, like what Vinaya said, is a lot of these global forums, a lot of these community events happening so that the balloon lifts people up from one place and then picks up some people who they want to educate on, like how organizations can run. And then they actually have some people from different places sort of educating. So the course happens on air. Then they drop them off in a place and then pick up new people. And then that sort of continues and happens all along.
And the lesson that we learned is that if you want to be enrolled with us to float, the lighter you are, the more buoyant you will be.
These are really strong women. Another image is a virtual global forum, which would have many balloons connected interdependently and yet connected through stewardship principles of balance, interdependence, regeneration, diversity, and succession. And out of that would grow nonviolence, peace, and global abundance.
I think most has been said, but what is really important about this is that there's also an ecosystem in the sky. So it's self-sustaining, like the beetle we heard about last night. It takes the water from the sky by condensing it. It has solar panels. So it's really a self-sustaining community in the sky.
We were also thinking about how to fund kind of the creation of this and the sustaining of it. And we said that initially we'd need to kind of, our next step would be to actually kind of develop the prototype further and look for sponsors, and then develop a model where entrepreneurs can actually kind of do what we're doing, develop those prototypes, and then that can then be brought to market, and then that can be kind of a continuous self-funding initiative for the balloons.
Thank you.
And it's also a baton, and Horace is going to pass the baton.
Thank you very much. All right, great. So over to this group here. Oh, thanks.
Okay, hi. This is Chris, Kate, and John from Table 17. With the concept of serious play with a purpose, we thought of creating a free online video game. The name of the video game would be World Play. Let's just set the scene for you. A beautiful voice comes in. Welcome to my world. I have absolutely everything you need to sustain life. I have oxygen, food, water, all the resources for you to thrive and flourish. Now, participate wisely. Pay attention to my laws. Communicate with me often. If you make mistakes, which you will, pay attention to the consequences. My resources are limited, but they are renewable and sustainable unto themselves if left alone. So be aware of your participation. Good. In this particular game, this voice is nature, inviting you into the game itself. Now we imagine something very graphic and beautiful and lush. There are two ways to enter this game. One way would be at the beginning of time. You could focus on the beginning of time there. There it is. Look at these 4 happy people. The other way that you could enter this game would be in our current situation. Now, this game would be available for everyone. For school children, high school, it would be for adults in business schools. Anybody can play this game. And I'm going to pass it over to Chris. Would you follow through?
Okay, so what we were thinking with this is the game will be loaded with our only real restrictions, which are the laws of nature. And it would also be loaded with the way that humans interact both with each other and with nature. So as your community and your civilization is developing, issues would arise. And if you were attempting to do something that would break a law of nature, you'd get a pop-up and say, hey, you're about to break a law of nature here. Would you like to ask nature how to fix this? Or would you like to ask mankind how they would have fixed this? And what you do is you learn how to, what the decisions you make, the consequences, and how you could work with them. And I think, in thinking about this, some of the partners we would like to, with Google, the Biomimicry Institute, and the AskNature.org, education and science fairs. This could be a tool used in the school system as well as, you could partner up with Facebook and invite your friends to participate in your community. And we could also institute a worldwide competition to see who could come up with the most creative and sustainable society. So that's our thought.
For example, one interesting scenario that we were discussing here. Let's say, for example, the particular community wanted to create a dam. And they have these 2 buttons to press. One would be to ask nature, and the other would be to ask mankind or humankind. Nature would explain all of the consequences of building that dam. Mankind may come up with something else. Mankind may come up and say, well, maybe it's better to invade this valley down below because you're needing more food. Maybe we can do that. So the interesting thing would be this juxtaposition of both of these and coming up with some solutions yourself. And all this would be entered in, and this would be an organic game, so things would be happening as you're developing them. Thank you.
We're wrestling with the idea of how could we introduce these ideas around sustainability in a way that didn't seem threatening or chastising, and this might be the way. Great. Okay, we're moving. We had a request to do something at the table. I know we're going off script, but was it 33? Is that your table? Yeah, because they built their prototype into their table, so they can't move. Is there a way we can get a camera on that? You want to raise your hand again for them to? There we go. You can see why they couldn't move that. And then just someone bring the mic, if you could bring the mic over for them, yeah.
I'm Aileen from New York.
And you face the camera there so people can hear.
Susan from New York.
Joe from Washington, D.C.
Dave from Cleveland. And Steve from New York.
Well, we looked at our charge, these four guiding principles, and how might we advance sustainability, and we flat out rejected the Nobel Prize. It just didn't resonate with any of us. So we decided to look at advancing a new theory of the firm, and in doing that, as a way to help any organization become sustainable and to accelerate worldwide learning. We initially started out with some of the tenets of sustainability, people, planets, and profits, social, environmental, and financial value. And we recognize this is fairly two-dimensional, not a lot of substance, and pretty flat. We needed to interject some soul into our new theory of the firm. And so that's what happened. We trusted in the process. We started to ideate and create and allow people to interject their thoughts, what they believed needed to be part of sustainability. We've created a new framework, a metaphorical framework, where people can ride the wave of sustainability and lead. It's represented as known as the fun firm, because if it's not going to be fun, people are not going to jump on board and get engaged with sustainability.
I think you said it pretty well, but you know, one of the things we talked about was human dignity being a result from all these values and principles that we found. So we've got the family, the community, surfing from these waves.
Yes, and the process was fascinating because from a standpoint of going from 2 dimensions to 3, I put a triangle together with pipe cleaners, and everything, it was like a seed, and everything grew from that, combined with the person who was focused on using our balloon resource. So somehow pipe cleaners and balloons came together into this wonderful 3-dimensional structure, which then became very organic. You may not see it, but there are whales swimming along the side and other animal elements. But I also want to highlight the notion of fun. If there's going to be a new theory of the organization, we believe that fun needs to be at its center. If people aren't having fun, I mean, years ago there was this time when everything was all one system, but then we broke life up into work, play, and learning, and all 3 were never in the same place at the same time. But if work and fun are together, then that's really a holistic approach. And the fun, of course, has to be combined with values, because there are some people who have fun hurting other people, and we don't want that kind of fun. So it's fun combined with positive treatment and positive values. You get the firm of the future.
So next step, what we'd like to do as a next step is, actually we've already started that, is that to build a new theory of the firm, to provide a model, it has to be done collaboratively. So we would like to document, which we started doing, the whole process of putting this together, which really leans on the brainstorming concept that there are no bad ideas. Every idea that any one of us had was incorporated, and even though we didn't know at some particular points, you know, I said, oh, I feel like making waves. So I made a whole lot of waves, but then we realized that this was based on the ocean, and then we needed whales and porpoises and fish and other things in the ocean. And then the idea came up, because we had to get our clay figures to stand upright, we had to balance them on popsicle sticks. So then they looked like they were surfing. So then the metaphor just extended. And I think as a teaching tool, it might be really great, because it provides a model of how you can do something that feels completely ridiculous, but it works.
Can I just add one thing? The learning from this process is, this is what I call the bad boys, bad girls table, because they're loud, we're all a little bit obnoxious, and the one thing we realized is that you have to give everybody a voice in the process and let them go on their own direction. And when teaching this tool, and we do a tool like this in business school, when teaching the tool, you have to let everybody learn to trust the process. And if you trust the process and you put in the right values, all of these are the values. And the one thing I want to point out is that we do have sensors that we're listening as well. So thank you for listening to us.
Great, thank you. Okay, over to this table.
We are going to tell you how we did it, who we are, and what we did. 2, 4, 6, 8, we determined we would iterate. So we iterated and iterated and iterated. And each time we iterated, it got clearer and better. Randy Fiat.
From Chicago.
And from Bruce Malls.
Bruce Malls.
Is a refiner. So in our iteration, she would continue to refine. Do we have a microphone? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Tall people.
Ted Rice from Mount Vernon, Ohio.
And he was a disseminator and determinator. We would get to a place where we thought we were somewhere, and he'd say, no, iterate again. So that's what we did. So that's who we are and what we did. Here's what we came up with. We wanted to create a wisdom bridge, and that wisdom bridge would bring generations together, an intergenerational wisdom bridge. So then we sat back and we said, well, what are the best conversations we've ever had with people who are younger or older? And we thought about the car, but that wasn't big enough. So we went to the bus. And we thought about how you could make fast friends, sort of speed dating, only friendships, with people who were improbable pairs of people. So then we decided, well, why don't we have people get on the bus as strangers and get off at a stop as friends? And in this metaphor of the bus, we moved to the practical application, which is in Canton, Ohio in October. We are having Voices of Learning, which is an intergenerational conversation. So we're going to ask the schools to give us buses, and we're going to use this idea of stopping, talking, finding out, moving on, and getting new, fast friends. Get on with a stranger, get off with a friend. Randy, we want to add?
We came together, the three of us, because we all have a passion about education and work and disseminating information between generations. So the Wisdom Bridge was conceived out of a notion that young people have a lot to learn from their elders, and their elders have a lot to learn from young people. Marge is very passionate about developing curriculums for youth, and Ted is very passionate about developing curriculums to transmit information and wisdom and teachings from 14 to college. So the bus, while it is a metaphor, and we tried to create a process and an experience, so it's more of an experiential design, and the reason that we came up with it is just simply that we were on the buses back and forth, and we discussed that every time we were on the bus, we would meet someone new and find a new connection. So the reason that the experience revolves around 3 stops is that the first stop was meant more to find a resonance with the person, find something that you had in common, open your heart, find a human connection, get off the bus, there's some sort of experience. The second point was to, what was the second point?
Open attention. So you be
Listen.
And the point was to activate and engage. So to learn something, to open your heart would be the first contact and pair. The second contact was to learn something that would inspire you, something that Marge told me that would inspire me, vice versa, youth to elder. And the third thing was to actively engage, to come away off the bus doing something and being engaged in something that you could do and go forward and move on with your life.
That was great. Oh, we do have a next step. Marge is prototyping this in October in Akron, Ohio. Canton, excuse me, same thing. Kidding, that's an Ohio joke. I'm from Ohio, I can say this. We think that this might be something that could be rolled out perhaps as for-profit or incorporated into an existing bus system where you ride a bus at lunchtime and know that if you get on a bus that's marked thusly, you're going to have a unique experience. So we think this is something that might be rolled out. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
And this bus will stop at Connection Junction. Thank you all.
Excellent. Okay, we had a special request for a multimedia presentation. Is that group ready to come up? Yeah? Okay, and is the... Okay, come on up then. Well, you want to do it from here. They want to do it from their table.
Hey, everybody. We are supposed to advance a new theory of the firm. We quickly dissolve theory into vision of the firm. And what we were able to come up with and find out is that we had two groups. We merged into one very quickly, building on each other's prototypes. And the word thrivability is something that resonated very much with this group. And it was a kind of passive overthrow of the word sustainability. And so that word helped us kind of shape our model, which is essentially a communication model in an effort to change the vision of the firm. And the stakeholders of how we're going to accomplish this and reshape the world would be the social networks, the people, the mass media and existing organizations like we're all a part of here today, and then lastly would be big business and creating a think tank. And so we're going to bypass the fun and play piece to the end, and what I'm going to do now is hand the mic over to Sandra, and she's going to talk about that second layer, which is organizations and mass media.
So, using the convening power of the UN Global Compact, we're hoping to generate at the middle level a network of networks of organizations that are already working on these kinds of initiatives. For instance, the Business as an Agent of World Benefit Organization, the Summit on the Future of the Corporation, run by Corporation 2020, that's happening next week, and a multitude of other entities that are already in what Paul Hawken has called the blessed unrest, bringing these issues to the surface, to unite them under the banner of something through the UN in order to really bring this network of networks together with a common kind of agenda around thrivability.
I'm Peter Jones from Toronto, and I want to point out the prototype that we built is a three-dimensional, colorful platform to which everyone contributed. So you see the global thrivability is represented at the top of this thing, but you see a three-dimensional edifice which was contributed by Manuel Escudero, who's part of our group. Before he left, in the 20 minutes that he had with our group, he contributed the exemplars of the ostensible new theory of the firm. This became the new vision of the firm, as a lot of the leading organizations are represented in the balloons at the bottom. Underneath that are the people that will pick up and represent the theory. At some point in the future, the theory will follow the vision, will follow the exemplification. So we're starting with a vision. This is thrivability. We're building that into a think tank, which will create from what we're learning is working. Yes, and then we'll bring all these other networks together around it. The think tank will meet on a rotating basis at some of the most wonderful, sustainable and unsustainable places around the globe to draw people, diverse people from all places we can imagine, or that you can imagine. So we invite you to join us.
We have some new terms that you can leave here with today. The new Thrivocratic oath, raise your left hand, thrive. Thrivatize, don't monetize. Don't downsize, thrivatize.
We also came up with some marketing slogans. Got thrive, drive to thrive. Where's Thriveocracy, Thrive Stock, Thrivevolution.
Thrive on.
Thrivalicious. Anybody else have one? Where it says open source.
Thrive-o-matic.
Okay, now the fun part. So we've got the social aspect. How are we going to communicate this to the masses and to the people of the planet? And we think art and play and song is one great way to do it. So I'm going to turn it over to Ken.
And I'm Ken. And in the spirit of inclusion and open source, we've really gone deep down into the natural gifts and talents of this group. We've gone backstage. We've gone into the tech booth. Guys, that's your clue. And I'd like for you all to stand up and join us in the Thrivevolution! Yeah, you words, take it out into the world. You can see us on www.thriveability.com, or you can join us on Facebook at Global Thriveability. It's open to everybody. Upload your pictures, your videos, make your comments. Join us on Facebook now. That is our next step.
And we had one, we promised this will be a minute long. Penny's going to just present one final concept at David's special request. Can you get the camera on that? What's the sound?
Can you hear me? Okay, good. And I'll go fast because I've lived on the East Coast for like 30 years now, so I can talk fast. This is actually the combination of two groups at our table. When we turned around 5 minutes before the end, we realized we were talking about the same thing, so we combined it. Ours is the vision, and there is more of implementation. This is about the prize, but the prize isn't the end product, it's the beginning. It's the GBG prize, Growing Business Generosity Prize. How people get nominated is pretty open source, nominated by peers, nominated via story seeds of generosity on a storytelling wiki. Nominate yourself on YouTube. And it's actually, the infrastructure is put in place by the Global Compact group organizations. The prize winners then go on to serve for 7 years, kind of like Miss America. So they serve for 7 years and they mentor. There's a pay it forward mentoring group. There's also a reverse mentoring group where kids mentor adults. There's a summer sustainability camp where people can go and spend two weeks to reflect, and facilitated by IDEO. I've always been good at sucking up. And also toward the end, they start growing the sustainability core. So that's our big vision.
And a little bit more about the process. My name's Rick from Cleveland. We realize if we use the image of the Nobel Award, there's not only one. They award different aspects of achievement in life, so we thought the award might award people in different types of organizational settings. And again, the award would fund people to be mentors. And when we began to talk about what would they do, we thought about the wonderful presentation from last night and thought, let's try biomimicry. And so we thought, how would nature go about growth? Well, it does it in seasons. And so we thought we might have a model in going forward that doesn't go from a little seed to the big tree all at once. It takes time. And so the mentoring team would help people to see, first of all, in the spring, what are little buds and seeds of growth that we might do to achieve sustainable practice? What are some summer images of fuller growth? What is a time of fall, of deeper harvest? And the importance of winter and deeper preparation and reflection to move forward into greater growth.
One more thing. Our season is 7 years long. At the end of our season, we have a 7-year jubilee that's global celebration of all that's been achieved. And the thing that we learned is that we have everything in place to make this happen. We actually got the idle people to donate their infrastructure for voting, and everybody gets to vote. So everything's in place. This really can happen. And then David requested this because he said it's already in motion. The Drucker School and CASE are working together to make this prize happen. So that's really exciting.
Thank you.
So I was told that someone would lose their job if they did not present, and I couldn't say no.
Well, John, we are from Brazil. Most of us represent the National Confederation of Industry. Our president, Mr. Rodrigo Loures, is the president of the Federation of Industries in the state of Paraná. We have a representative from the federal government, Alexandra, and our team is Inalda, Alexandra, Jorge, Junqueira, and our president, Rodrigo. And there's Antonio back there, Ilma, Marga, João. Could you stand up? They're all in the way in the back. And I'm Enrique. What's our vision? First of all, the National Confederation of Industries and SESI, the Social Services for Industry, and SENAI, the National Learning for Industry, have been sponsoring BAWB Global Forum events since 2003 in Brazil and now in the US also. We have about 60,000 employees. About 2 million students go through SESI and SENAI programs. Our main focus is education. SESI is also focused on social responsibility. It's a pioneering institution in the country for social responsibility activities. They're about 65 years young institutions and growing. What's our vision? 2020, it's universal access to all students in every public and private institutions for design and sustainability activities and courses. How do we do that? Through SESI and SENAI, we will have a pilot experience on education based on design in all schools, and that will reach about 2 million students. Next, SESI will create an award for students and schools on sustainability, and this will be a national award. SESI has a strong relationship with the federal government, and that can reach out to all the public schools and institutions. Through the National Confederation of Industries, SESI and SENAI also, we can integrate and can promote the integration of university and businesses through the PRIME program, and that's key on this issue. So for these three topics, we do have control over and we can execute. And our final topic is a provocative one. We are proposing that we have a BAWB, a UN award for BAWB activities. And this should be presented at the General Assembly meeting at the UN. And also, is there anyone from Google here? No? We'd like this to be at the homepage of Google for at least 2 months, because that will give enough exposure to this activity. So that's what we wanted to present to you. And oh, I'm sorry. This is the prize. This is this SESI Award for Sustainability that we will be offering to the entire country in Brazil. Thank you very much.
Okay, could we switch quickly to the screen?
Listen, I want to just ask everybody to help me appreciate Peter Coughlin and IDEO. The moment I stepped into IDEO's front doors, you can just feel the electricity and the energy, and it gave me an image of what our management schools could look like. I mean, hot teams and collaborative innovation. And anyway, I've learned so much from Peter, and again, thank you, Peter, for joining us and helping us inspire this process.
And thank you for letting me be a part of this. I hope that some aspects of design can actually help us with some of the challenges that we're facing. Thanks for playing along.
I just want to just say a little bit about going forward. Obviously, we're packing in a lot in this kind of conference. We're doing two things. We're kind of creating an interactive process to create some things, but we're also chock full with lots of speeches and papers and workshops. So anyway, I do want to make a suggestion around going forward. At this stage in last time's conference, you know, in terms of just the images and the prototypes and so on, this is exactly what happened when PRIME was born and a few other initiatives. So what I do want to suggest and plant the seed that a lot of these things can really begin to nurture and develop. We have a website, http bawbglobalforum.ning.com. I'm going to ask you at some point, I don't know if it right now is the right time. Okay. I ask Emily to just say a little bit about the website, and then I'll talk about a couple steps, just small steps that we're suggesting.
Okay. We made this website so that you can take your projects forward, you can form your own groups and upload the materials that you've been working on so that you can all learn about in more depth and what you've been doing, and meet some other folks who've been here that you haven't had a chance to meet, and some folks who haven't been able to come. So I just want to show you how to sign in and do everything, because I've had a lot of questions on this and I want to make it really clear so everyone can participate. If you go to bawbglobalforum.ning.com, this browser is a little spread out. You can come over here and you can sign up. You just click on that, fill in this stuff. You have to put in your birth year, or some people don't, and then it doesn't work right. If you have an account, you can go ahead and sign in. I'm going to do that now. And then you have access to everything that we have uploaded on here right now, and everything that we're going to be putting on in the next week or so.
Which includes what?
So,
videos?
yeah. So I'm going to list all those things right now. First of all, on the homepage, you can view all the members that we have, and you can connect with them. You can add them as friends. You can talk to them. So we already have 334 members, so that's really great. And you can click on anyone and learn more about them from wherever they're from. I think we have about 12 countries represented on here. So you can see people's profiles, and I encourage you to upload your photos and maybe put a link to your website or your Facebook or your company's website, your organization's website. We also are putting up event videos. The only thing that's happened during this forum that won't be up there is Janine Benyus's talk from last night. But everything else will be up there, including most of the PowerPoint presentations. So you can take these back to your companies or your classrooms or your friends. We encourage you to link to as many things as you have going on. Put them in your email address at the bottom of your emails. And all the videos aren't quite up yet. That'll happen probably by the end of next week. I can almost guarantee that. We also have those great commercials that we saw on Tuesday night at the welcome reception. This is the most important part for right now. This is the discussion area. And what we want to be sure that all of your groups do is that you designate someone in your group today, right now, to go home and log in and create a page, a discussion page for your group. So put a little abstract of what you've done, maybe list your members and any contact information that you want, and please upload a photo of your prototype or a photo of your group and your prototype. That would be great. And then I'll show you right now how to make your own discussion page so that everyone else here and everyone else on the virtual forum can learn about what you've done. You just go to the discussion link and click Add a Discussion. And then from here, you can put in your group or project title, the abstract right here. You can join a category from other discussions that have already started. I encourage you to make your own discussion, though, so that it shows up on the main page of discussions. You can attach files, including any papers or other works that your group members have that are related. You can upload pictures from your group work, and you can upload future work that your group creates going forward. So we really want to make this a place where you can kind of keep us informed and keep the rest of the Global Forum globally informed of what you've been doing post-event. And then the last thing that I want to show you is the virtual presentations, because we had hundreds of applicants for papers, for workshops, and breakout sessions this time, and we couldn't get all of them up. So we were able to get an additional 60 or so presentations and PowerPoints up. So if you click on the virtual presentations on the virtual website, you'll see that they're divided into categories based on the tracks that we had available for this forum. And you can click on one of the tracks, and you can see a list of the related presentations and papers. So these are all additional. These are things that you haven't seen during these past 3 days. You can read the paper, and you can watch a PowerPoint presentation for some of the projects. And this is a voiced-over presentation from other academics and thinkers from all over the world who've also contributed to the knowledge that's made this forum possible. So I want to take just a quick second to answer any big questions. Oh, never mind, we can't do that right now. So I'm going to give you my email, and you can email me if you have a question on how to use this, or catch me after. My email is emily.drew, emily.drew@case.edu. And you can also find me on the virtual forum. So
Say it again, Emily.
it's emily.drew@case.edu. emily.drew@case.edu. And I'll be around over there after. You can ask me specific questions, and good luck with all of your projects.
Yeah, my slide. Thank you, Emily. Lots of rich material, the slides and the papers and so on. So very exciting, and thank you for getting that set up. I'd like you to do just a very quick huddle right now, and just the only task is to have someone volunteer to write up your prototype, like what it is, the name of it, maybe get a picture taken of it, and share the names of your group and email that. And when we put these online, people can join other groups in terms of the discussion. That was a question that came up. Can I join this other group? And absolutely, that's what the virtual is going to do. So, 3 minutes right now to talk about this next step and how to get that completed, and then I'll say the next thing.